My name's Stone Cold Steve Austin, and welcome to the GCW Broken Skull Sessions. My guest today, he's touted as the Fallen King. He's the first man to challenge GCW World Champion Will Ospreay at Extreme Rules, the one and only G-Man. Now, I took a long-ass flight here to the Kone, Japan, just to sit my ass down here in front of you, so your ass better be grateful.
No, of course I am. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. It means a lot for me to be here on your show. I don't have much experience with podcasts, but I'll do my damnedest to accommodate.
Don't you worry, it's all natural. As far as you're concerned, there's no cameras, there's no microphones, it's just you and me shooting the shit. Just let it all out and relax. So, first question. How's Japan treating you? This is your first time, right?
Yeah, it is. And it's funny because, me and my cousin always dreamed of coming to Tokyo and seeing Wrestle Kingdom in the Tokyo Dome. You know, New Japan. We were really excited to watch Tomohiro Ishii versus Katsuyori Shibata. The problem was we were in high school at the time and our grades were shit. So, yeah, our parents shut that dream down real quick.
Yeah, that'll happen. But hey, you got real close and personal with the business in another way, huh?
Yeah, things worked themselves out in the end, I guess. But no, Japan is amazing. It's beautiful and wild at the same time, especially Tokyo. It's like there's a service for every conceivable thing. I was tempted to use some, but nah, I'm a Christian man, Steve.
Now, I heard a little something about that, like Rent-A-Mom or something.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
Would you have used that one?
Oh, no. I already have a mom, and she's a handful. I love her, though. She's usually the one who puts me back together after matches, so yeah, I don't really need another one.
Now what about the locals?
God, it's like I'm on a different planet. Because everyone here is so calm and quiet, it's really such a breath of fresh air. I love my home, but it's just too much sometimes. The Japanese are awesome, and I love them. And this won't be the last time they see me, believe that.
And it seems like the people in Japan feel the same way about you.
They seem to like me here more than anywhere else in the world.
You never shied away from interacting with them either. Let's get this image up here real quick. This young lady looks like she's having the time of her damn life.
Oh my God, yeah, I remember her. She was so sweet. Of course I took a pic with her. She actually started crying afterwards, like tears of joy. I haven't seen a reaction like that for a long time, Steve. It was such a nice day, too. I go over to Tokyo just to walk around at lunchtime every day, and awesome shit like that happens. My God, how did you find this? I don't even have a social media anymore.
We got a whole team on the clock for stuff like that.
Well, they're earning their pay, goddamn.
But hey, back to your cousin, Danny Meltzer. What's your relationship with him? I know your family and all that, but, what's the deeper story? How'd you two come up?
Danny and I are cousins, but we were more like brothers growing up. He'd always come over to my house. I'd always go over to his house. We'd play wrestling video games, watch wrestling pay-per-views. I think our first pay-per-view box set was something called Shikara. It was his idea to get it, not mine, but we both ended up loving it. We've always had a love for the business, and we always wanted to be a part of it. We had other vices during our times at school, of course, but at the end of the day, it always came back to wrestling. And back in the day, wrestling wasn't really the coolest thing in the world. I don't really think it's the coolest thing in the world now. But because of our love for it, we got a lot of shit from bullies and jocks who played quote-unquote real sports. The funny thing is, Danny was usually the one to talk back and start trouble with these guys, but I was the one who actually had to fight them off.
So essentially he was your mouthpiece.
Yeah, he was my Bobby Heenan.
Now, is that really his last name? Are you two related to Dave Meltzer?
No. That is definitely not his last name. He just had a habit of giving his own star ratings to matches we'd watch. Funny thing is, he actually hates Dave Meltzer and his ratings. He thinks he's a hack and he's so much better and smarter. He's funny like that.
Yeah, but even so, he's got to be one of the best damn commentators on the planet. I can also say the same thing about your wrestling skills. No matter how much shit you might have gotten over that three-way win, people would be lying to themselves if they said you don't have the talent in that ring.
You done kissing my ass?
No, I'm serious. Stone Cold don't kiss no ass. I just call it like I see it. FAW Winter Slam. 3 stages of hell. You versus Pentagon Jr. That match still gives me goosebumps to this day. You went in there with one of the best in the business today, and you quite literally went to hell and back with him. So much blood, so much hate, so much brutality. What went through your mind going into that match? I know Pentagon broke your neck years ago, but,
I honestly shudder at the thought of it. I look back at the footage, stare at the show's poster, and I just can't believe that that was me doing all those horrible things. But the reality is, it was me. And I remember the only thought in my head going into that fight was, the past year of my pain is going to be worth it because it was all his fault. He ruined my life, and I'm going to end him, even if it kills me. And to the horror of everyone there who watched, that's exactly what happened.
And we never saw Pentagon and FAW again, did we?
No. He might have gone and wrestled in other promotions, but I just know that he and I have never been in the same room since.
So it was all for revenge, huh? For what he did to you?
It was all I could think about for months after he broke my neck. So much was taken from me that night. Being out of the business I loved, losing my title. I thought I could keep it together, but certain people gave up on me and walked away, so it made me grow cold with the world, with my family, friends. It was worse than death to me. I still tried to get to the grind and recover faster, but it was all gone. The passion, I mean.
Until you met Mandy Rose?
Yeah.
Now, how'd that happen, if you don't mind me asking?
She just found me struggling at the gym one day. I couldn't even lift a 30-pounder. She felt bad for me, like I was some kind of wounded puppy. She actually knew about me beforehand, which shocked me. She came over and decided to take time out of her session and rehabilitate me.
And she was wrestling herself at the time too, right? Like in another company? What was that company?
Yeah, she wrestled for a woman's exclusive company called Berserk. Still does, I think. After our first gym session together, she invited me to come see her perform. Gave me front row tickets, just like that.
And you both just kept training together since?
Training, sightseeing, going to indie shows. We grew closer and closer as time went by.
So she pretty much just dug you out of that rut Pentagon threw you in, huh?
She saved my life, Steve. And I was too stupid to keep that.
What do you mean? I heard about you two breaking up, but I don't really have all the details.
I said too much. I don't think I want to talk anymore about it.
That's fine. We're both adults. I ain't gonna press you to talk about something you don't want to. But I'll just say this. Sometimes it's better to just let it out. We can do it off the air if you want.
I hurt her, Steve.
How so?
She spent so much time fixing me when we were together, physically and emotionally. But I never really let go of that hatred I had for Pentagon. And you know what the worst part is? She convinced me to get back to wrestling. When I was perfectly content with just being her manager in Berserk. She wanted so badly to see me happy that she went out of her way to meet with Wildcard and get me signed to FAW again. Because of her, I got that second chance. And all I did was use it to get back at Pentagon.
But you didn't go straight after him?
No. I had a couple matches before that. One was a triple threat with Cassius Ohno and Sami Zayn. They were supposed to go one-on-one, but Wildcard just shoved me in there for my re-debut. I lost that after getting my bell rung by Sami's boot in the corner. What a comeback, huh? It's like I got a thing for losing comeback matches. There's that one, and then the one with Jeff Hardy, but I digress.
Was that when you and Mandy?
No. I went on to challenged Sami Zayn for his title not long after. But I was interrupted by Pac. He wanted the same thing I did, and so he challenged me to a number one contenders match for the FAW North American Championship. Winner gets Sami Zayn at WinnerSlam. It was the main event of FAW Zombieland. It was a good match, but it was the same result as last time. Pac beat me, fair and square, and when I looked up at him celebrating, one thing had run through my mind, and that was Pentagon. I worked so hard to get back in shape, to finally be where I wanted to be again, thanks to Mandy, but after losing twice in a row, it was clear to me that no matter what I did, no matter who tried to fix me, I'd never be whole until I paid him back for everything. I was a shell of my former self, and the only way I saw to get it all back was to get that match with Pentagon. My mind was racing, and in came Mandy to help me up. She kept whispering to me, "It's okay. I'm so proud of you," and kissed me on the cheek while she held me close.
What did you do?
I gave her a pile driver and walked away. It was the last thing people saw on that show. Even though I gave an explanation, I myself still ask why I did it whenever I look at the mirror.
What was the explanation?
In my twisted worldview at the time, even though Mandy saved me, she made me soft, and she was in the way of my path to Pentagon. I was too far gone, and she cared too much about me to see that until it was too late.
Did you ever try to talk to her since then?
She showed up to my birthday party pay-per-view thing wildcard set up for me. I thought I was seeing things, but it was her all right. I saw it as my chance to make everything right. I tried to tell her how sorry I was, that I would do anything I can to make it up to her. But then, she ran off. I don't blame her either. I don't blame anyone who holds me accountable for what I did. Whatever boos I get out there in the crowd wherever I perform are completely justified. There's no excusing the stuff I did to get that selfish revenge fantasy. Mandy Rose, Drake Maverick, Phoenix, even Pentagon. I wish I could just take it all back.
You want to know what I think? You're just a kid who made a dumbass decision. Now, I've been there, and believe me, I was a stubborn jackass as a youngin'. Took me years to grow out of that. But I'm not one to judge a man by the mistakes he made in the past. I look at what he's done since. And to me, you have been putting in the work to make sure you've learned from those mistakes. That's a quality not too many people in this industry have anymore. And you've shown it again and again since you got here to GCW. You've gone through so much on your way to this point, and to me, there's no one on the roster who deserves a shot at the big one more than you.
Thank you, sir. Really. Thank you.
I'm just telling you how I see it, son. You still got a long way to go, but you're making great progress. I'm proud of you.
I'm just doing what I can to be better.
And you've been damn busy, too. I ain't just talking about GCW either. Even on your home turf, you got some enemies. I remember the talk of the town for some time was your beef with some guy from the underground promotion, SWE. What's his name? Scratch? Scab? What was it?
Scar.
Same shit. But whatever happened to that guy? He was cutting promos about you via satellite, sending his two compadres all around to jump you and cause trouble here in GCW. And when the time came to make the match official, he pushed it out. What happened? Did his balls drop off?
Honestly, your guess is as good as mine. He talked a big game, treated himself like he was the next big thing. Scar was the one who wanted the big match. He did everything imaginable to get my attention. All this talk about a contract, begging me to sign it. He sent his goons to jump me on my birthday, and not only that, he sent them after my cousin, my family, Steve. And after all that, he wants to show up on a screen with a phony suit and tie and act like a fucking businessman. Understand this, when you go after my family, business gets thrown out the window.
And Santana and Ortiz, of course, went to GCW during your match with Jeff Hardy and attacked Danny Meltzer, along with his broadcasting partner Luke. That, of course, costed you your match. But then they took it a step further and performed a damn mugging on Danny at the parking lot. It looked like they gave him a bit of a message. What did they tell him? Did he ever say?
It was just some generic mafia bullshit. Scar's gonna make your bitch-ass cousin sleep with your fishes, And I've heard worse from a lot tougher, right? But Danny was absolutely petrified by that experience. And when I saw the fear in his eyes as he told me about that, I knew what I had to do. I had to put a stop to all this nonsense, so I stormed back to FAW, called him out, gave him a chance to face me like a man. But what ended up happening? What's he doing? Lounging around in New York with his little dogs. So then his boss comes out to make all the excuses in the world for him. I'm not hearing any of them. I just wanted his boy to back up what he's been saying this whole time. But no, I gotta wait till the next episode to see him face to face. So everything is set. The contract is on the table. My boss is on standby. Scar's boss is on standby. Everyone's waiting. I come out. I flip the damn table over because, like I said, the business side of this isn't there anymore. The only thing I was gonna sign that contract with was Scar's blood. And sure enough, he no-shows again. Like, what the fuck is going on? Are you a thug or not?
That's supposed to be Paulie's top guy?
I guess. Before he landed that cheap shot on me at SWE Bloodsport, he went on about how he loves this business. Tell me this. How can you claim to love this business when you don't even show up to work?
That's just ridiculous. All that effort just to leave everyone high and dry. I don't know what Paul Heyman's thinking these days. But luckily, the fans didn't leave that place empty-handed. Luckily for them, I should say, but as for you, you thought it was over, but out came Chris Jericho. I never saw that coming in the slightest. He showed up and showed everyone watching footage of you attacking him backstage.
Yeah, so for people who don't know, on the night of SWE Bloodsport, I was sitting front row because I was invited there personally by Heyman himself right after Birthday Bash went off the air. Paul said that Chris Jericho was in the building, like he just got there, and I pretty much bolted out of my seat to find him.
And he was your first suspect, right?
Yeah, so after LAX, Proud and Powerful, whatever the fuck, attacked me at the end of Birthday Bash, I was absolutely convinced it was Chris Jericho who sent them. Like, I'm not stupid, Steve. I watch wrestling, and I know about the Inner Circle. I didn't know why they would have done that, but I didn't care. I just wanted payback. Paul told me he was signed to SWE, Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho was signed, but not LAX. So that's what made me attend the show in the first place. So there I was. I heard Jericho just arrived, and I took my chance. Obviously, I was wrong, and the guy who actually pulled the strings turned out to be even less of a man.
I tell you, that Jericho sure had a knack for holding grudges, because he waited 5 whole months to get back to you.
From experience, I know how that is. And because of that, I sympathized with him. I made a mistake attacking him. It was one of many. But to be fair, I was so convinced he put out the hit on me that I had just acted out of instinct. But still, I knew I was in the wrong. So I looked him in the eye and apologized. I had to be the bigger man because I already had enough to deal with. Undisputed Era at the Royal Rumble, Scar playing hide and seek. I didn't need a damn wizard on my ass, too. But of course, Chris couldn't handle being upstaged by a kid. So he gave me the old suplex on a chair, which hurt like a bitch. I felt that through the Royal Rumble, too.
Yeah, it's pretty typical of Jericho at this point. But what's odd to me is that for the most part, you've been quiet on this whole Jericho thing. Why is that? It's not fear, is it?
What the hell do I have to be scared of? Jericho's an old man past his prime, still trying to cling to those glory days. You hate to see it. It's basically the same thing Scar is trying to do. Use me as a propeller for his own career. I got bigger fish to fry, Steve. And as far as I'm concerned, Jericho isn't even the one holding a belt.
Damn, that's cold. I hope Jericho ain't watching. But I'll tell you who might be watching. The two young men you beat to get here. MDT, WSC. Triple threat at Mania. I noticed your demeanor when that match was announced. You were not happy at all.
God. Yeah, I sat there on commentary to support those two, and then all of a sudden, I'm just slapped onto the biggest match of both of their lives. I didn't want any part of it.
You seem to let out a lot of baggage during that promo leading up to the match, huh?
Yeah, like I said that night, it took Vince convincing me to go through with it. But, fuck, man, I talked a huge game before it was time, but the night of, it was a whole different story, completely.
Yeah, it was an incredible match. And to my surprise, you didn't get cold feet. I mean, at least up until the end. I was half expecting you to just stay out of the match the whole time.
Well, I love to wrestle. At the end of the day, I'm a slave to the thrill of the fight. And to add to that, Trey and Nate, they can go, man. It was fun wrestling those two. It hurt like hell, but it was fun. And I was so lost in the fight that I almost forgot what was at stake. But then, when I heard the chair shot to WSC's back, it was like an alarm, snapping me back to reality.
When that happened, you were the only one in the ring, and you had the chance to end it right there. Hook Nate's leg and take the win. But you didn't. You were a damn deer in headlights. What went through your mind there?
Shit. What didn't go through my head would be an easier question. The biggest thing was the fact that that was my friend, lying in a pool of his own blood because of CM Punk. I couldn't just disrespect him by stealing the win like that. And then the second thing was the realization of, if I pin him, I'm taking away his career in GCW. I'm taking away the opportunity for something huge, away from a guy I built a bond with. I was in conflict with myself. I wanted the championship opportunity, arguably more than both of them, but there had to have been some other way of doing it, right? A better way. But before I knew it, I was having my spine bent again by Trey.
And you still kicked out of that. God damn, I still can't believe what I saw there.
How do you think I feel?
And after that, you kept fighting, and by God, you pulled it off.
Yeah. I guess that second Bratitude adjustment helped me get back on track. As much as I wanted to keep the friendship safe, I had to stay on the path of making things right, of being a better man. And the only way to do so then was to win this match. So that's what I meant when I told Nate, I need this.
So what ended up happening between you three?
Well, after the bell rang, I felt like garbage, to put it lightly. I felt like I was wearing a crown of thorns. I regretted it so much that I snapped at my friend Nicole backstage after I found out she was the one who booked that match. But I was angry over nothing, because Nate and I are still cool. He even congratulated me not too long after that night.
What about Trey?
Trey, I'm not too sure. I haven't tried to reach out to him since that night, and neither has he. I figured it might be best to keep it that way, at least until he decides to hit me up. I don't want to make things worse, you know.
You're a pretty damn humble guy, you know that?
Yeah, I guess. I wasn't always like this, though.
Yeah, but humble couldn't be farther from the word I'd use to describe your next opponent, the world champ, Will Ospreay. He's gone on to say some nasty things about you. One phrase in particular he'd use a lot has been deathmatch wrestler. How do you feel about that?
Fucking can't stand it. And it's not just him. Everyone behind the scenes thinks just like him. The fans, too. And don't get me wrong, I love my fans, as you saw earlier, but I can't help but feel annoyed when I see someone post, G-Man is the deathmatch king, or G-Man versus insert deathmatch wrestler here is my favorite match, is my dream match. It's honestly demeaning. I had one match like that, and it was under extremely specific circumstances. I was in a bad place, a dark and evil one. But now I'm out, and I'm like, guys, you know I can wrestle normal matches too, right? But no, they want to see me go after the Extreme title now. No, thank you.
So, you don't like death matches?
I just think they're so stupid.
Well, considering I'm the one who books a division based on them, I guess, I just...
Oh, shit. No, I didn't mean it like that. I was just saying...
Nah. You don't have to say any more. I got the message. You hate my matches and my Extreme division. Don't have to say anything else.
Come on, Steve.
Let's just move on.
Would it make you feel better if I bought you a beer after this?
It's a start. But nah, man, I have no doubt that you can hold your own in a normal match. Hell, that three-way should be a prime example of that. But with all due respect to MDT and WSC, Ospreay ain't no YouTuber. There's a reason he's the world champ, and it ain't just Gunther. He's been going out there, grinding, perfecting his craft, and defying gravity all around the world for over a decade. I know this ain't your first rodeo, but Ospreay considers himself the better technician, and in his words, he's in a whole other dimension. I've seen your matches. You don't exactly like to get technical. Why is that? Do you just not like the style? Are you inexperienced with that field, or what's going on?
No, actually. I've got years of experience under my belt with MMA. When I was younger, I took classes at my cousin's school 5 times out of the week, every week. If I wasn't watching wrestling or getting Danny out of trouble, that's what I did. And it was all thanks to Kurt Angle. After I just saw one of his matches, I knew then and there, that's my top guy. And that's the style I wanted to model myself after if I was ever going to pursue this business. And I worked hard on that. But as I got older and got into more fights during school or out in the streets, I slowly came to a realization. As fancy and flashy and impressive those holds and just that style overall can be, it's not a real fight. From my experience, I've won more fights than not, and it wasn't because of a headlock or an octopus stretch or anything like that. It was because of these. And it's like your old pal Mike Tyson said, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. And if Will Ospreay's plan is to be the better technician, then I'll just have to be the better fighter.
See, now that's what I like to hear. But maybe it ain't what we need to hear. Now, I get what you're saying. I more than anyone else do. But you can't deny this is a heavy clash of styles here. Now, I believe everything you say, but another part of me is seeing where Ospreay's coming from. You're the rookie, and he's the champ. He's beaten Ibushi, out-wrestled everyone in that roster. But above all that, I see it in your eyes. He's gotten to your head. I'm here to tell you that before this match happens, you cannot buy into what he's saying. Now, I'm not kissing your ass. I'm just giving you some advice as a veteran of the game. Because once you start believing you can't do something, at the end of the road, you're going to prove yourself right.
Yeah, I understand. And there was doubt when Ospreay had me beat in that tag match with Kurt, but my sensei over here beat it out of me since then.
Now, I've been meaning to bring that up, actually. I mean, considering we're sitting having a damn podcast in a Japanese dojo, why don't you tell me about this training under, what's his name over there?
Heihachi Mishima, yeah. I can't reveal too much. It's kind of a thing here. But I will say this. Mishima training is unlike anything I've ever experienced. I've had to remove glass from every inch of my body, pull barbed wire out of my flesh, and endure thousands of thumbtacks piercing my skin. But this is real pain. It tests your mind, your will to live, and believe me, I've been tested before. And though my training isn't complete, I can let you and everyone watching know. They're going to see a different G-Man at Extreme Rules. And they're going to see just how it will all pay off.
From such a short time window, between the beginning of your training till match night, do you think you're ready for Will Ospreay?
The real question is Ospreay ready for me?
I guess we're going to have to find out at Extreme Rules. Now, is there anything you'd like to say to your opponent before we take it on home?
Will, I know just how good you are. Hell, you've shown me firsthand. It's the whole reason why I'm here in Japan in the first place. But it doesn't really seem like you understand the reality of this situation. Now, I know you might chuckle hearing me say this, but you and I are actually a lot more alike than you'd want to admit. You see, there was a time where I had the same mindset as you do, Ospreay. I, too, alienated everyone around me, everyone who told me things I didn't want to hear. You'll never make it to the top. You'll never be good enough. You'll never be the one. And while I believed them at the time and was wallowing in my own suffering for months, you denied them. You fought tooth and nail to prove them all wrong, and you did. But along the way, you lost yourself. You may have gotten the one thing you ever desired, but you and I both know it was at a heavy cost. And how do I know this? Because I paid that price a long time ago. You chased after a world title and recognition for your talents. I chased after revenge. We got what we wanted, and what ended up happening? We both lost our humanity. The only thing is, I gave myself a second chance. The people gave me a second chance and I took it. I took it and showed up to GCW, kicked the door down, and who did I find? You. Telling me that I can't hang with you, that I don't belong, that I'll never be champion. The same thing the guys in the suits told you, isn't that right? You got in my head, Ospreay. I'll give you that. But now that the doubt was beaten out of me by that man, I see it all clear as day. You've earned the right to hold that belt. But you gave up the privilege of ever calling yourself a champion. Because even though the people stood by you, cheered you on while you struggled to break through that glass ceiling, what did you do in return? You told them all to fuck off and had Gunther win that title for you. Empire my ass. And you still stand there in the ring, mic in your hand and head up your ass, letting everyone know how below you I am. The last time I heard that, I lied down and accepted my fate in a hospital bed. But not this time, Ospreay. Not this time. I bet you thought you were really clever, excluding yourself from the hardcore theme of the pay-per-view that night, huh? Well, the joke is gonna be on you. Because when that bell rings, as far as the people can see, it'll just be a regular old wrestling match. But for you, it's gonna be the fight of your life. So please, Ospreay, I'm begging you, underestimate me. Because it's just gonna make what happens next that much sweeter. At Extreme Rules, I'm gonna feed you your own heart and become the new GCW World Champion.
And that's the bottom line, because I said so. I believe you promised me a beer.